Hello, my name is Gene Michael, though everyone call me Bob on YouTube. I am almost 22 years old now, I can drive, and I am letting my hair grow a little. But all of this doesn't really matter because today we are talking about a completely other subject. We are speaking about the baby crayfish. Yes, Mrs. Crab had more than one, and today we are releasing them in the two aquariums. Alright, so the introduction of the video is pretty much that I've destroyed the native pond. Why? Because winter is really close at this point, so I didn't want some dead crayfish one day or another in that tub. So anyway, let's move on to the actual videos of my channel. A year ago, I did a lot of them entitled the Could It Work playlist, and one of them was shrimp and goldfish could it work. That's the 5th most popular video of my channel, by the way. And those videos were made to understand which fish could actually go with the goldfish once I eventually got another aquarium. And now that we have the 44 and some crayfish, let's answer the question about shrimp and goldfish. Now I know crayfish and shrimp aren't exactly the same, but at this size, those little guys are pretty much similar to cherry shrimp. So if you want to keep cherry shrimp with goldfish, check out the result of this video. So these are the first moment of introduction of the crayfish in the aquarium. And these were probably the most dangerous for those little guys. Reason is simple. Once in the open water, they were seen as food by both the goldfish and then other crayfish. You see, crayfish are very territorial. Now, why didn't I do something else? It's pretty simple. I just didn't have any choice. It's either keeping them in the 44-gallon or ensuring them a certain death by getting them back to the pet store where they would just be placed with adult crayfish that would kill them. Anyway, that minnow didn't work out at all with the goldfish, and many crayfish also lost their lives in the initial moment of introduction in the 44, but some did actually survive. Out of pretty much 20-ish crayfish, at least 6 of them survived many days after the initial introduction. Same goes for the 26-gallon aquarium. The initial introduction of the crayfish were very dangerous. It was very tough time, but I do believe at least 1 or 2 have survived in that aquarium as well. Now in here, the greatest threat and the greatest predator wasn't the angelfish. Lucius is pretty much a bad predator altogether. He has a small mouth and he do not know how to predate. One fish that do that though is the Colombian tetras. Being the little cousin of the piranhas really give them the abilities to eat a lot of prey. They have small teeth, yet a very big mouth, and they are ruthless when they need to be. Colombian tetras are a very good community fish generally, but today we have learned that you shouldn't necessarily try to keep small crustacean with them because that's pretty much what they eat in the wild, and that's what they are going to eat in your aquarium if you want to keep shrimp with them. Don't keep shrimp with Colombian tetras. That's pretty much the lesson to learn here. Anyway, one very interesting thing about this clip is how Lucius turned fairly black. You see how much his stripe, or her stripe, I don't know if it's a male or female, got darkened up during that feeding frenzy and then returned to normal. Anyway, back to the 44-gallon aquarium. As I said, it was mayhem in the beginning, but then a few days later, a lot of them have survived. And now they are pretty much like not fighting anymore. I did had one clip of the Shadow Master eating up one of his sisters or brothers, but sadly, for some reason, my computer don't want to accept that video. So sadly, you will never see a crayfish eat another crayfish in this video. But this is the sad reality of crayfish. Most of them die of cannibalism. Now, I also introduced a Malaysian trumpet snail from the 26-gallon to the 44-gallon aquarium because snails and goldfish could work. Yes, that work. Snails don't get killed by goldfish, so we have learned something new today. Anyway, now that they are more stable and that they have access to food and a very fresh water, those crayfish are doing pretty well. The one that have survived, that is. Pretty much all the injured got killed in the initial first days, but now only the most healthy and strongest crayfish are surviving. And this is pretty much how it would have worked in nature as well. I just think putting them in that aquarium speed up the result. But did you know that only 1 out of 200 sea turtles make it to adulthood? And I believe those numbers must be much higher in the crayfish population. So you can call me crazy or aggressive with my crayfish. The sad reality is I didn't had any more option than that. But I do believe at least a few of them will survive to adulthood, and I will do a video of how to care for crayfish pretty much next, because we did had successful breeding, and we do now have several babies growing up to be bigger and bigger. Speaking of which, this is the Shadow Master, and he's like 2 times bigger than anyone else back in the tub. So crayfish do well in the 44. Thanks out for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and may the fish be with you always. Love you all.